Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about basically how I learned how to play by listening to records, and this was all before the internet age. When I started coming up, I was into Ace Frehley. In fact, you know, this was my gateway. Kiss Alive was my gateway into like the whole world of guitar playing. And then I got it kind of into Black Sabbath, and by the time I got into Black Sabbath, I could kind of play the pentatonic scale, and I could kind of recognize some of that phrasing that Tony was doing. Which is really cool because it gave me a foundation. And then when I heard Eddie Van Halen, I was just like, what is he doing? You know, I remember sitting down and trying to play Eruption. I went out and bought the music book for piano, and they had Eruption, and I got my Mel Bay book out, and I figured out each note, and I could kind of do it on two strings like this. You know, it was like I mean, it was hopeless, you know. And then my buddy came over and did this thing on the fretboard, and I sat down in my bed that night and figured out. He said he'd seen him in concert and he was doing that, and I was like, oh, my whole world changed. And if you look at Eddie, he would work the pentatonic and some of those Dorian shapes and stuff. He might be... But then he would throw in these they were just symmetrical. You know, they weren't even in a scale, but he made it work because he's Eddie Van Halen. And if you look at, like I was talking about the Yngwie, that's kind of what he did. He would play on one string a lot, or two strings. Then he would go into those areas like the Blackmore and Uli Roth and all those guys were playing. If you listen like to Michael Schenkers and the Uli Roths and Eddie Van Halens and Yngwies compared to the shredders after, there's a little difference. There's a difference in phrasing, and there's one's not better than the other. The new guys are just amazing, and I'm so influenced by all them too. But it was kind of neat that I kind of came up in an era where it was Ace Frehley, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Yngwie Malmsteen. Then I got into Al Di Meola, Holdsworth. It was like all these guys. It was great, but I had this foundation for me that really opened everything up. So when I did start playing some of the lines, I kind of had an ability to end them and phrase them because I was always improvising and I was always into phrasing and trying to find that rhythm. And the pentatonic was great to be able to do all that with. The players that played prior to the internet and prior, like the whole shred explosion, they tended to play a little different than the guys later, and their phrasing's a little different. Part of that was because of the music they were listening to, but I think part of it is because back then you looked at the neck a little differently. Nowadays we all arrange the notes 3 notes per string, and I learned the whole neck that way and mapped it out. But early on I didn't know that. And I would learn a scale like in a few different positions. Like I might play E minor here, then I might play it here. And a lot of times it was around the pentatonic shapes. I just would come up with areas to connect these patterns that I was familiar with. So I might go, and that would get me down to that comfortable shape. Then I would do little runs and things like that to get me down there. But I knew when I was in each of those shapes, I knew how every note sounded, how to end the phrase. And it was great when I was starting out improvising because it gave me the ability to play melodic right off the bat and really develop a style that was similar to the people I was listening to at the time, like Ritchie Blackmore, Michael Schenker, Eddie Van Halen. If you look at the Alcatraz stuff, he's kind of doing that. He's playing like these shapes, and he's maybe up here, and then he's doing the cool single note things to get him to the comfortable shapes. But it's so musical because you know where you're going to land. You can just be up here phrasing stuff. And have that nice ending. And I worked out the pentatonic scale. Now I learn them all and I know the whole pentatonic scale, but at the time I did that. I learned certain phrases like so when I started learning the faster lines, I kind of had a foundation down musically, and then when I started learning things 3 notes per string, I still kept that kind of concept. I still could visualize those things I had before. And you can take it and just try some licks, try connecting your phrases. One of the first ones I learned was just going, which Vivian Campbell, I think with Dio, was really worked that in like the Rainbow in the Dark solo. But that was a great one, so I used that one a lot to connect in the early days. That translates into other styles. I just took those basic concepts and applied them to maybe Well, I just thought I would come on today and talk a little bit about how I developed my playing and in the early days, being an old man as I am. But if you're enjoying this, please let me know. If you've been subscribed to me for a while, you probably know that I'm posting a lot more videos than I used to, but I'd really like to grow my channel, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite albums and breaking down some solos, and I have an album coming out. I'm going to post some music, a bunch of music from that, and maybe break down some of those songs, talk more about technique, and I love talking about picking and things like that, and cover different styles. I'm having fun kind of covering my early influences right now. It's really a lot of fun, and it's such a big part of me as a player. All the Ritchie Blackmores, Michael Schenkers, who I'm going to be doing something on, and Roth, who I love, and Yngwie, and Eddie Van Halen, and Randy Rhoads, and Al Di Meola, and Alan Holdsworth, and Warren DeMartini, George Lynch, that whole school, to like Bill Connors and Mike Stern and all those guys, to Pat Martino, John McLaughlin, Paco. I mean, I just love so many different players, and they're all in my playing. Vinnie Moore and Paul Gilbert and all those guys. So anyway, if you like this, please let me know. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And thanks a lot, and I hope you guys have a great day and have fun picking.